Okay, so I did the problem that said there were several roses and tulips in the garden. After 30 roses were picked, there were 3 tulips for every remaining rose. And after 30 tulips were picked, there were 2 roses for every remaining tulip. How many flowers were in the garden originally? So I started off with this sentence, and I'm going to make that green just so I know that that's what I'm talking about. And so 30 roses were picked first, so I wrote 30 plus, because that was a given, and this is going to be my number of roses, and these specifically are the roses that were picked. And then whatever is here is, oh, sorry. Oh, this one, okay, is what was left over of my roses. And this is going to be added to, oh, to match these, my number of tulips. And the reason I have 3 cells here is because it says there were 3 tulips for every remaining rose. So each cell is a unit of roses here, and so there should be 3 units of tulips here, which I will shade blue for tulips. So from there, it says 30 tulips were picked, and there were 2 roses for every remaining tulip. So first, I want to make my borders a bit thicker on these cells, just so they stand out when I split the cells. And then I can take and split these into 2. And change these back to the regular border size so that they don't get mixed up. Okay, now I can say that all of these tulips, if all of these tulips are the ones that was picked, that means I have 1 smaller unit of tulips and 2 smaller units of roses, which lines up with the second half of this sentence that says there were 2 roses for every remaining tulip. So these darker ones represent the picked tulips, of which there were 30. And because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smaller boxes, I can say 30 divided by 5 is 6. So each smaller box should equal 6 tulips. And that will carry on outside of the picked tulips because these are all equal. And this should equal 6, and this should equal 6. So based off of this, I should have number of roses in the beginning equaling 42, because I have 30 that were picked plus the 6, and the 6 makes 12. So 30 plus 12 is 42. And oops, it's the wrong number of tulips should equal the 30 that were picked plus the 6 that were left, should be 36. Oh, that's not right. And total, there should be 78 flowers. And if I wanted to check my work, I can go down here to this table I have set up. I can copy and paste here. Copy. Paste. Oh, let me make sure I get the colors in there. There we go. So that way we can just look at my answers and the original problem. So here I can say this column will be my number of roses. This column will be my number of tulips. From my answers, I said that we started with 42 roses and we started with 36 tulips. So from this first sentence, it says 30 roses were picked. So that's going to be my first situation. Roses picked, which means I'm going to have a -30 here, and nothing is going to change here. It's just going to stay the same. So now I should have 12 roses and 36 tulips. And to check if this part is correct, I can look here at this section of the sentence. And this says there were 3 tulips for every remaining rose, meaning there should be 3 times as many tulips than roses, which is the case here. 12 times 3 is 36. There are 3 times as many tulips. So now I can move on to my next sentence, which is an orange. The orange sentence starts off by saying 30 tulips were picked. So now we're going to pick some tulips, and there were 30 picked, so we're going to subtract 30 from the tulips column now, and the roses column is unchanged. Oops, I forgot to say that they were picked. So we have the 36 minus the 30 that were picked. I now have 6 tulips in my garden, and the roses were untouched at this time. So we still have 12 roses in our garden. And based off of the second part of that sentence, it says there should be 2 roses for every remaining tulip, meaning our number of roses should be twice as many as our tulips. Roses should be double number tulips. Okay. And 12 is 2 times 6, so that is correct. So that means our answer of 78 total flowers in the beginning should add up.